to the group here. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andrew Pinero. I work for a systems integrator out of New York City. And I have a pretty large staff, but unfortunately, and I really believe that, it's a very small percentage of the staff that we have are women. And I find them to be probably the most responsible individuals that I have in my service organization. This group here talks about advancing women, but women can't advance in IT if they're not in IT. So my question is, how can we get more women to get into IT?
I think I totally understand what you're saying, because again, I don't know that anybody grows, well, some people do, but most don't say I'm going to grow up to be in IT, because they might not even know what it is. I'm going to throw back to my days at ScanSource, because that was a big mission over there. So we would use our trade shows as a platform to work with local area schools. And it was an informal thing where if we were going into the Dallas market, we would reach out to the high schools in that area or the technical colleges in that area and do an ambassador program where we would pick 5 to 10 key people throughout our organization to kind of escort these folks through our trade show environment and meet key contacts at vendor organizations. Because again, we recognize, like you do, that you've got to touch the lower end of the population, because we've got to do some convincing and some education about what IT opportunities are. So really applying maybe, that's in a broad sense at a distributor. I don't know if that applies to your business or not, but I think what CompTIA is doing with some of the programs throughout this organization, I mean, that keynote speaker who was 14 on stage the other day, that was phenomenal. And it continued when he came by our booth, and he's like the Energizer Bunny, who just keeps on going. So I think we've got to find champions like that to use as role models throughout the industry. I think we need to do more of that.
Actually, I'm going to echo where you ended up. And again, speaking from a personal note, the reason I'm in the career that I am today is following my role model is my father. Everybody that's in this room, from the women in IT, if I'm speaking to the women, right, there's an opportunity to be a role model. You might reach out, you might be an ambassador, but even if you don't feel comfortable with reaching out, other people see you and they see what you're doing. The actions, your accomplishments, you are a role model. And that means that you are an inspiration to other women and young women who are looking for their career. So be a role model. And speaking to the men in the audience and the ones who are obviously, if you're here, you're very supportive. Recognize the women, recognize them for their achievements. And like you just said, Angel, take a look at the women in your organization and speak out, because they might be waiting for somebody to recognize their performance rather than their potential.
And Angel, I think all of us as a community, we have to take a different approach to recruiting. And I think we could leverage a page from the playbook of the Army. If you look at the way the military addresses and does a recruiting for the men, the young men and women of America, they're going, hey, be the best that you can be. I think there are some aspects to that says, we make a difference. Those of us who are in the IT industry make a difference in people's lives. We make a difference in the productivity of people. We make a difference in the productivity and performance and profitability of companies. It is beyond just the speeds and feeds of technology. We really do play a difference and make a difference everywhere. And I think if you carry that message, I think women will respond to that.
Yeah, well, I'm a mother of 2 daughters, and so I think everyone's kind of said some great things here. I think maybe offering internships to girls. I mean, I honestly, with 2 girls and a daughter in college, I mean, how delighted would they be to have an internship for the summer with a company that might not be necessarily in their field of study, but it could be interesting, right? And so kind of reaching out that way, because to the point that was made, I do think women are looking to be recognized, and so just reaching out and maybe giving somebody an option like that through the universities.
Thank you. Anyone? Oh, some questions over here.
Actually, it's not a question. I just want to follow up on that, something we've done in the past. This is something everybody in the room can do in their organization. Start a bring your daughter or son to work day. Just do it once a year. It's so easy to do. We can all do that in our organizations. Have a special day around it, plan a little agenda, have everybody that you work with there bring in their kids. Like, that's where everything to start.
Just adding to the exposure that Nancy was mentioning, we're in the world of the reuse of technology, but we've noticed when I travel around America meeting with people from school districts and all kinds of walks of life, often the younger people are not taken for granted that the girls who are part of the schools should be engaged in these IT programs and exposure to the tools. And I have to take my hats off to many schools who have recognized that and have made sure that girls are participating in their programs. And we can all be proselytizers of that, engaging communities to engage all the people, not just some of them.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Now, first off, I would like to caveat on what Ms. Nellie Scott and Mr. John Merman stated about women waiting to be acknowledged in the IT industry. You know, being in the military, as you mentioned, military mindset, the reason why a lot of our military females succeed in life is what we do is we train them to realize you must be assertive, regardless of where you go in life and how you get there. If you're not assertive in your life, someone else is going to be. I'm sure everyone here has heard, squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right? If you're not that squeaky wheel, you will not be promoted. You have to get up there. You have to have your face seen. If you're just a person doing the work in the sidelines and no one in senior management ever sees you, then all you're doing is making your boss look good. All right? The other thing I would like to caveat on is more directed towards Mr. Angel's comment over here, where he had stated that, you know, we need more women in IT. How do we get them in IT? I think more what you were speaking of is in the technician standpoint, correct? That is something I've noticed very heavily in where I work. Women, for whatever reason, do not want to come in to the technical jobs. They think that, you know, I don't have the advanced mathematics skills, or I don't have, you know, there's a lot of other jobs in the technician market. And I work with a lot of females on a daily basis back at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, training them to be technicians. You know, we teach them their network side of the house, the security side of the house. And what I'd really like to see this community do is reach out to more women to show them that being a technician doesn't involve being that greasy, acne-covered fat guy sitting in the basement. You know, that you do have outlets, that you know, there is success in it, there is money in it. Another thing I would like to point out, that there is sexism in the field. And, you know, I have seen it, and where I'm at, I have seen large amounts of sexism. Use it to your advantage. As someone who used to deal with a lot of psychological operations in the U.S. military, you learn how to take a situation that is a negative and turn it into your positive using their own negative thinking patterns. All right? For a man, if you are up and coming, you're assertive, you're aggressive, supervision will find you as a threat, because if your supervisors are not as assertive or not as aggressive as you, they will see their jobs in jeopardy by you, and they will not promote you. That sexism in the field allows you to come in and be like, you can be that assertive. They'll promote you because they think by promoting you, they're going to be keeping a guy out of the position that's going to overthrow them. And then when you get eyes brought on you by senior level management who does not have that bigotry in them, you get promoted into your boss's position and you help remove that sexism out of the industry piece by piece.
Thank you, thank you. So I think we've gotten a whole lot of pearls of wisdom. I'm going to have one last question over here.
This is for the panel. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of your expertise and wisdom. I've been with Cisco for 8 years now, but I don't hear a lot of great mentorship, unfortunately, so I really do appreciate the various experience you can all bring for us. My question is, what or whom was your biggest challenge in your careers, and how did you overcome it?
Probably the balance, right? Kind of balancing just my career. And I would have to say that I do thank Xerox and then thank the management that I have that allowed me the opportunity to to somehow figure that out, right? Raising 2 children and traveling and still trying to have a career and a family and give back to your community. I think that's a challenge for not only for women but for men as well. And it was taking advantage of what Xerox offered that, because that's important to Xerox to kind of give back and to have a balanced work life. And as a woman, you work, right? You're all in. And so trying to figure out how to be all in all these different places is a challenge. So you kind of have to work at it, but I think, I don't know what I think.
I think for me, my biggest challenge has been, and continues to be, is finding the right environment where you can be an opinionated female. Politically dainty has never been a term I've been associated with. And I am outspoken, and I am extremely direct, and finding an environment that welcomes that is still a challenge.
I would say, to echo Stephanie, one of the challenges, and we talked about it yesterday as well with family, it's keeping that balance with family, wanting to work hard to get ahead. So one challenge is always trying to balance the amount of time you have with family life, the amount of time you have to put into your job, put into your requirements. But I'll also go one other direction. All of us have had, at least most of us, and I'll raise my own hand every once in a while, you've got to work with somebody that you don't necessarily look up to or respect. I've had the fortune of working with a lot of people I do look up to, but every once in a while in your career, you've got to work with somebody that you just wonder, how did they get there? If you're in that situation, I'll also tell you something, or share with you that some of the best things that I've learned about management are from those people that were idiots. But from the That's right. Mary Ellen said, you learn what not to do.